All right. Good morning. So just after 6 a.m., SWAT officers were at the location of the 800 block of North 10th Street, attempting to serve a warrant on an individual that was wanted for a homicide and a suspect in multiple armed robberies in Central Division. Upon approaching the location, attempting to knock and announce, they were fired upon by this suspect through the door and through the window. Officers were able to continue to breach the property, where they took on more gunfire from this individual, striking one officer in the leg, one officer in the hip, and the other officer in the upper chest after the bullet kind of ricocheted off of his vest. At that point, the suspect ran through the property, attempting to flee out of the rear of the property, at which point in time SWAT officers that contained that property in the rear of the property began to engage that suspect. After the suspect began to fire at them, they returned fire, ultimately striking the suspect. Our officers were transported here, where again the hospital staff did a tremendous job working on them, and the suspect was transported to Temple Hospital, where he was pronounced at 7:32 a.m. The two of our officers will be released hopefully by the end of the day, and the other officer will be admitted for some continuous observation. Commissioner Outlaw spoke to the officer. She is away at Major City Chiefs event, which all chiefs in the country are at this weekend, and so this week. And so she spoke to the officers this morning, was able to again extend her thoughts and prayers with them. But as the mayor said, this is ridiculous. I mean, this is within a few days we had officers fired upon in East Division, and now we have officers that are shot. This is something that these officers sign up to do a job, is to protect and serve, but not to take gunfire. And at some point it becomes enough. And I think we've already passed that point where it's enough. And we need that anger to resonate across the citizens of this city as well, because it's not a day that goes by that we don't either have a child that's shot or multiple people shot, because there are too many people that are out here carrying guns and they don't have consequences. And so some of these people need to be in jail, and that's the bottom line, and that's the consistent theme that we keep seeing. And again, I'll leave you all to pointing the fingers, but the bottom line is that some people need to be in jail, and this is indicative of it, that we have 3 SWAT officers that again are doing their job, trying to get a male that's wanted for homicide and multiple gunpoint robberies. That should not be happening. This just should not be happening.
Are you pointing a finger towards the district attorney?
I'm not pointing a finger at anybody. I'm pointing it at everybody, right? Because there's too many people that have guns. This is a 19-year-old suspect. So something has been broken in this young man's life for a long time, and it just didn't start today. And so, again, you all can point the finger to whoever you want, but the bottom line comes down to this is everybody, including parents. I've said this before, family members. This is an all hands on deck type of situation where everybody has to be held accountable. But at the end of the day, we can't keep having suspects that have lengthy records. This male has a record for armed robberies, which he's committed in the past 2 years. So again, at the end of the day, it comes down to some folks, not everybody. And so I want to be very clear about that. Not everybody deserves to be in jail, but some folks that have a lengthy record, they deserve to be in jail. And because again, there are too many innocent citizens that are essentially, their lives are at risk every day because there isn't any accountability, right?
Which homicide? Out with bail?
This is a homicide that happened earlier in August. I don't have the specific details, and we can get that for you later, but it's a homicide that occurred in the 22nd District earlier in August.
Do you know if he had DUFA charges before, any gun charges, illegal gun charges?
I believe he had 2 robbery incidents, point of gun, yes. And so, again, something we'll look into. I don't have that information right now. We will look into that. Once we go through the investigative process, public affairs will get that information out.
Anybody else hurt that wasn't an officer or the suspect?
No.
Any sort of barricade situation we were hearing?
I'm sorry?
We heard there was a barricade situation involved. Is that the case?
Nah, it may have come over if you were listening to the radio, but this happened so quickly and things move so fluidly. It may have come over that way, but no, this ultimately, he tried to exit the rear of the property, at which point in time he fired at officers that were in the rear and they returned fire. So again, you may have heard somebody say that, but as this moves so fluidly, so quickly, you hear things that come over radio, but ultimately what it comes down to is that he tried to exit the rear, fired at those officers that were in the rear, and they discharged back.
We saw 3 more people get...
Homicide. How many officers were there total, do you know?
I don't have that information.
We saw 3 more people get arrested. Was there other people in handcuffs at least?
There were other individuals in the house. From what I'm told, they didn't have anything to do at this point in time, with the incident, but that will be a part of the investigation.
Third or fourth time this year SWAT has been fired upon or shot at. South Philly, at Fair Hill, take one more. Tell me about, is it becoming more dangerous because there are more guns and more people willing to shoot? What's changed in the last few years?
I think you already know the answer to that. The fact that you can point out to me that there are several incidents that happen with SWAT officers being fired upon, that tells you right there that this should not be happening. This is not normal. And unfortunately, we have come to believe that this is a normal course of events. It is not. It is not. And so it's troubling across the board. What the reasoning behind it, again, as I stated, there needs to be some tough consequences. And again, that's not the only reason, but that's certainly one of them. All right? Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
There you have it. 3 suspects were arrested. We saw that on our live cameras this morning. But 1 suspect shot and killed in the back of the place where he was staying there, 10th and Brown.
And we've learned the age of that suspect, 19 years old.
19 years old. And